This is a fried oyster omelette, or oloat, a classic Singapore dish. It was cooked by hawker Miss Fang Lin Sia during a special shoot recreating the dish for the Straits Times. Just 1 year after opening a stall with her husband at Bukit Timah Market and Food Centre, she's had to raise the price of this classic hawker dish. Ms. Fang is one of many hawkers in Singapore who are charging more in order to cope with the rising costs. One of the effects felt from the Russia-Ukraine war, some 8,600 kilometers away. Here's how a faraway war affects an oyster omelette. Ms. Fang's oyster omelette is currently priced at $6. That's a 20% increase from the $5 she charged for the dish only a year ago. Let's take a closer look at how much the ingredients cost. Over the course of a day, a lot of cooking oil is required to fry all the orders of oyster omelette to crisp perfection. And the cost of cooking oil has gone up, but it's not the biggest cost. The price of oysters has also gone up, and Ms. Fang uses 5 per full-size omelette. But again, it's not the biggest rise. Thankfully, the wholesale price of green onions has remained largely stable. It also helps that not all customers want this in their dish. The ingredient that is really driving up the price of oyster omelette and other dishes is, of course, eggs. Singaporeans love eggs, so much in fact that more than 2 billion of them were consumed here in 2021. About 30% of Singapore's eggs are produced locally, and more than half of the supply comes from Malaysia. The rest are imported from 10 other countries, including Poland, Australia, Thailand, Spain, and Ukraine. Since last year, prices of eggs have been going up, driven by the cost of imported chicken feed. Wheat and corn are the key ingredients for chicken feed, and the 2 biggest exporters of wheat and corn, that's Russia and Ukraine. Since the war began in February, the cost of chicken feed has shot up. Before the war, Ukraine exported up to 6 million tons of grain and oilseed a month. War has seen many farms in Ukraine destroyed, and in March, its exports fell to 200,000 tons, just over 3% of its original output. Vessels carrying around 1.25 million tons of Russian and Ukrainian grain and oilseed were blocked from leaving Black Sea ports, causing a major disruption to the global supply chain and driving up prices of wheat, corn, and yes, chicken feed. The sharp rise in production costs has led poultry farmers to raise their prices as well, and the import price of eggs hit a high in the fourth quarter of 2021. Since Ms. Fang and her husband started their food stall last February, the couple have been fighting the rising cost of ingredients. It was in March, when a tray of 30 eggs went up to $7.50, that they took the decision to raise the price of their oyster omelette. A year ago, Ms. Fang would pay $5.50 for a tray of 30 eggs imported from Malaysia. Now, $5.50 only gets her 22 eggs. In April, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, or MAS, warned that consumer prices could increase further as businesses pass on the rising costs to consumers. MAS also said that the Russia-Ukraine conflict will have significant repercussions on global prices of food, which had already risen close to record levels before the war. Some food for thought for the next time you order this hawker classic.